Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for the first really big match preview of the new season. And we're only on match day bloody 2, and it's only getting bigger and bigger with the games we've got coming up. But Chelsea are to face Arsenal at the Emirates tomorrow afternoon, with the kickoff being at, what is it, 4:30? Is it? Yeah. 4:30 p.m. UK time. Of course, like I just said, at the Emirates, and it's a weird one, you know. Everyone knows Arsenal are absolutely awful, but we somehow struggle against them every time anyway. Like, they did the league double over us last season. We lost the FA Cup final to them the season before. It's like, it's all right ball leg. I tell you that much. It's all right bloody ball leg. And I've had a discussion about this recently with someone, and it was like, it's like we still think Arsenal are a big team. So we worry about things way too much when we should just play how we always play against like a Palace, and then we'd smack them. But because we worry about things, that's why we get into trouble every time. It's a weird one. So let's hope we turn things around. Obviously, we just spoke about it off air. But last time we played Arsenal and Tuchel, obviously that unfortunate defeat with that, you know, Jorginho back pass to Kepa, and then Kepa wasn't in goal, and then Kepa saved there, but then it still went in, and it was a whole nightmare. Let's hope we do things better tomorrow. Let's hope we do things more like we did in the preseason friendly. I'll take it. I'd bloody take it. But of course, there's a lot to get through today. Will Lukaku start? I reckon he will. But who starts next to him? Who the hell knows? What will Arsenal do? How will the game go? But we're going to have a lot of people to discuss things today. Of course, as you can see already, Mr. CFCPys has already joined us. First of all, Pies, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. And how are you feeling ahead of Arsenal, mate?
Yeah, I'm good to be back on the streams. Probably be back tomorrow for player ends as well, maybe. but yeah, I don't know. I want to say I'm looking forward to the game because I've been waiting all week, especially with Lukaku probably going to start. But I don't know, like you said, Arsenal's just one of those ones. I hate the Emirates, and even though they're in a really bad state, I mean, I'm pretty sure, didn't we like save Arteta's job last time we played them or something? Like last season, we pretty much saved them at one point.
Yeah, just after Christmas.
Yeah, I don't really get why we always struggle against Arsenal. It's kind of like a bit of a bogey team. They beat Man United quite a lot as well at the Emirates. So I don't know. I'm not going to be negative as the stream goes on, but I'm a bit pessimistic for this game just because it's just one of those. It's kind of like Goodison Park as well. Like, we never seem to win there, right? We're better than Everton, but it's just like one of those grounds for me. I always hate the Emirates. So, but yeah, hopefully we can win in style, but it would be a change. I think if there's any manager who can do it and make Arsenal look as bad as they actually are, then it probably would be Tuchel. But yeah, we'll see. They are in a bit of a downward sort of spiral at the moment. But Tuchel said, you know, he's expecting that. They're going to try and be the underdog. So I think we're going to be well prepared. I really hope we take our chances tomorrow. And Lukaku, you know, I hope he gets off to a good start because I'm 99% sure he's going to start. I mean, he's had the whole week of training and he had pre-season before that anyway. So, yeah, I think he will start. But, yeah, I'm sort of on the edge of this one a little bit, I have to say.
And mate, you make a fair point there, but maybe Lukaku will be that turnaround that we need against Arsenal, and he'll just be our new Drogba when we always beat Arsenal. Of course, as you can see, we're also joined by Jonathan. Lewis will join us very soon as well once his stream is done. But before that, Jonathan, first of all, thank you for joining us again. Hope you're well. And do you echo the feelings of Pice, or are you more already on a very optimistic path with, you know, how the start of the season's gone, signing Lukaku, potentially his first game? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I do completely get what Pice is saying. A lot of people are saying that to me as well. I don't want to come across as overconfident or cocky, but I watched that Arsenal game. I've watched them during pre-season, and I've watched quite a lot of them last season as well. I'm really not impressed with them. I know, you know, we said off air that I think there'll be 2-3 changes from the personnel that played against Brentford, but just the way they play, I know they do raise their game against Chelsea, but they just do not fill me with confidence. And I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be dreading the game tomorrow because Lukaku is the exact kind of striker that they hate to play against. You watch those highlights against Brentford and the way Ben White played, he should have an absolute field day against him. Now, you know, there's a lot of feeling that Lukaku will start. I mean, we'll obviously dissect Tuchel's comments that he said about Lukaku, where he said he hopes he's ready to play. But yeah, I'm confident. I don't want to get too confident, like I said. So I get Pice's comments completely. And I think a lot of people on Twitter are echoing that. You know, they beat us in the FA Cup final. They beat us twice last season. And like Pice said, you know, that the 3-1 that they beat us, yes, we missed a penalty and we could have got back into the game. But both times, you know, doing a double over us, it was really disappointing because whilst they are a rival, they're not a rival. We're clearly the biggest club in London, but it's just one of those games that tomorrow we have to win. There's no excuses. I know they're going to improve. I know they can't be as bad against Brentford, but we've got to get 3 points. You know, Man City have now turned it around. Man United have had a good start to the season. So have Liverpool. You know, we need to start the season well under Tuchel. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the game, and I'm fairly confident.
100%. Like Danish Maldini said here, Lewis sent you. Brilliant. If you're here from Lewis's channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. Or if you just turned up through other ways, just subscribe if you haven't already. Smash the like button. Really helps us out drastically because it shows these streams and videos to more new people, and that's how content creators grow. So just a simple click on the button. Doesn't cost you any money, barely cost you any time. We'll just keep talking anyway. So please do that. That'd be massively appreciated. But yeah, I kind of just echo what both of you said. It's kind of a mix of the two because Pi certainly makes some fair points. Like I said earlier already, they are in a weird way a bit of a bogey team recently, and it's been kind of strange. Like under Kante, obviously that away game, until we changed it, we got battered 3-0. Then under Sarri was away, not great, but at home, obviously we beat them, I'm pretty sure. And then obviously we had that Lampard time with that Martinelli goal that they still think won the game, which clearly it hasn't. But, they move, and then we lost these FA Cup finals against them. Like, it's just annoying. But when you watch them play, they're just so goddamn awful. Like, every time I watch Arsenal play, I don't even, seriously, if you watch them throughout a season, no one on earth can tell me that they're any better than bloody Fulham. Do you know what I mean? Like, how Arsenal played at Stamford Bridge last season, even though they got a win, Fulham were a way better football team. So I don't understand why it's such an issue. See a couple of other people saying, Lewis sent you brilliant. And football style, yes, I have. Did you see the Ings goal against Newcastle? It was very cold. It was very bloody cold. Enjoy that. Liverpool was a bit unfortunate, then Liverpool Burnley score, and then it was clearly offside, and Ashley Barnes was going off. Can the guy just shave his head? Like, I don't understand footballers that barely have hair left. Just shave your head. I don't get it. Anyway, just going off on all sorts of tangents here. But anyway, let's get back to the Arsenal game. Like I said, it's just annoying that we can't comfortably beat them. Like, I just want like a 3-0. Do you know what I mean? That's all I want in my life. Just want to batter Arsenal. And hopefully we can do that. Like I said earlier, maybe this Lukaku, signing is just kind of the thing that we lack, the thing that we need. And that would be bloody brilliant, in my opinion. That would be bloody brilliant. I said someone in the chat earlier asked, who said Lukaku start? I did. I don't know if he will, but I'm saying he will. And, Pice kind of agreed in a way. Like, it's been training all week. Mann's been sitting in interviews with Sky saying he's watched our last 6, 7, 8 games to, know how we play, to know what we do, the movements and stuff. So he can just turn up and, fit right in. And if he can do that, why wouldn't he start? That wouldn't really make any sense. But myself and Pice were actually talking about it off stream just before you joined, Jonathan. So a question I put to you now, with almost a week's hindsight, was Palace as good as we thought, or was that kind of obviously we're good, but were we as good as maybe the scoreline suggested? Because the way we said it there, we scored a free kick. It was a great free kick, but it's not like we created a fantastic goal-scoring chance there. Or the Chalobah goal, we didn't create a fantastic goal-scoring chance. They just, took a hit and it worked out brilliantly. Because otherwise, except the Pulisic goal, how many other clear-cut chances did we have? We had the Pulisic header in the first half, I suppose. We had the through balls from Chalobah to Timo Werner, which for some reason he crossed to no one. So we had those, but were we actually that good? Or was not flattering is the wrong word. I'm not trying to look for that. Or, do we need more before we can say, oh, we're really good now?
I think as opening day games go, start of the season, few different changes, obviously with Chalobah coming in. Obviously, Lukaku is going to come in as well with Tuchel. I think you can't ask for much more. I know, we're clearly not as good as we can be. We're not as fluid as we can be. We've got a striker who's going to come in and score goals, because Werner did have a few half chances that he probably should have scored or at least got on target. So, yeah, it wasn't as good. But I think a 3-0, that scoreline just looks good on the opening day of the season. It just sends a message that we are here to do business, because even when we're not playing great, we're still picking up points, because last season and the last few seasons before that, we haven't always won games that we just expect to win. These smaller games where you just need to get the win. Palace have had a really good time against us at Stamford Bridge in the last few years. They've won a couple of times, got points off of us. So to start the season in kind of second gear and win 3-0 when not looking great, and like you said, not creating loads of clear-cut chances, it's only a good thing for me, because we are going to score more goals. Like, we're missing Havertz, we're missing Lukaku. We're going to have other players in different positions. Mount's nowhere near full fitness. I'm really excited to see what we can do against Arsenal with a week's training in. So yeah, I get what you're saying. I think it was almost good in a way that we didn't get the 5-1 that Man United got against Leeds, because all the talk was about them, not so much about Chelsea. We kind of still went a little bit under the radar. And obviously Man City losing helped as well. Liverpool winning 3-0. So whilst it was a good start, and like you said, we can do better, I think that actually plays into our hands. And again, if we can have a good result against Arsenal, it's the only way is up for me.
No, I completely agree with that, because like you say, we had the problem of not beating teams, not just not beating them as convincingly as we should, at times not beating them, even though we should have done last season, even under Tuchel, whether it was Leeds or Wolves. Well, Wolves maybe we let off because that was after one training session, but Leeds or Southampton or Villa or West Brom, like those are the type of games that we should have won but didn't. And usually it was a case of we should have won a lot of them like 5-0, but we never did. And it was always scrapey, or we just didn't even win, right? And last game against Palace, we didn't maybe have as big and as many chances as we might have had in some games last season, but we won 3-0. And if that's the type of that's the way things go for us more this season, going forward for the rest of the season, that can only ever be a positive in my eyes. The only small thing I had there from what you just said before I put it to Pies, those after a week's training thing, I've thought that so many times, and every time we end up being worse. Like, obviously it's start of the season, so it's a bit different, but I usually think about it, January, when for the first time in God knows how long, you finally have no midweek game after like the New Year's games, like between usually the 4th and the 15th of January, you usually have like a midweek off. And I remember it was under Lampard, and especially thought it under Sarri. Now we finally have a week off and can work on a bit of tactics. And every time we're awful, or not awful, but not as good as I hoped us to be for the game after, is a bit strange. So let's hope that's different. Obviously, start of the season, everyone is in that midweek situation. It's not as much of a flow yet. But to put it to you, Pies, obviously we spoke about the fact that they are a bit of a bogey side to some extent, and that we struggle a little bit more against them than we sometimes should. But Arsenal is a weird team, aren't they? Because if you look at their players, Leno, pretty good goalkeeper. Is he better than Mendy? No. But is he a good goalkeeper? I would say yes. Sure, he has a mistake in him, but I don't think he's a bad goalkeeper. As much as, Ben White really didn't look great against Brentford, and as much as he's never worth 50 million, he's still a good defender. There was a lot of clubs interested in him while he was at Brighton. Mari, we spoke about it off air. He might potentially not start, fair enough. But still, Tierney is a good player. Xhaka is a decent player, as much as it's weird that he's staying at Arsenal now. Obviously, Emma Smith-Rowe, Saka will come in. Aubameyang should be back, whether he's starting or not, who knows? But you go through their team and you're like, you're not that bad in terms of a team, right? If you compare it to, say, Palace. No disrespect to Palace. But then you see them play, like I said, except against, obviously, the few odd games, for example, against us. And you're like, what are you all doing? And it's a weird one for me. Like, is it just the manager? Because, Wenger towards the end had similar problems. Sure, it never finished 8th. So, we're still better than the lot after. But still. And then you had Emery, who's clearly a good manager. Does things with Sevilla, does things with Villarreal. And at the end of the day, in comparison to now, was even pretty decent with Arsenal. And now you have Arteta, who they take out of City, obviously knows what he's doing in terms of football, but is he maybe just too rigid in terms of what he's trying to do, or does he not know what he's trying to do? It's a confusing one to me. But, Pies, what do you feel about Arsenal? Except that obviously, we want to beat them and stuff, but it's just so difficult to complain. Not complain, like explain.
Yeah, they are, and it's just, on their good day, they can be, a really good team. They're good going forward on their good day as well, but I think we'll just be too strong for them, hopefully. I think in every department we can match them. One thing I'm a little bit worried about is transitions. I think in the Super Cup game against Villarreal, I know Hudson-Odoi played, so it was a bit more attacking, as if, maybe Reece James will play. But still, I think a few times we got caught out in transitions, and Arsenal do have a lot of fast attackers. So I think that's one thing we'll have to be wary of, especially Tierney as well, bombing forwards. He's a good player, but overall, man, I think, if we're at our game, I think we win. Like, it's as simple as that. But I just hope we are at it. We've been playing like handball, and Romelu Lukaku's been going in goal and things like that in training. So I don't know what they've been up to, but yeah, I hope we are at it. And I think we will be. I think with a week off, as you said, more time to work on tactics. And yeah, just really interested, really, what the starting lineup will be as well, because I do expect Arsenal to go with a back three and sort of match us and just kind of sit back, hope we don't create much, hit us on the break kind of thing. But I think we've played teams like that before as well, so I feel like we'll be prepared and ready for anything that's thrown at us. And that's the thing, I don't think Arsenal will be with everything we throw at them. I think we will be with everything they throw at us, but I think the other way around, that's where I think we can do the damage.
Yeah, hey, I agree. And like Father put in the chat, big up Father, by the way, Lewis Gang is here. Not just the Lewis Gang, but also Lewis himself with the, Chelsea shirt, 4-1 in Baku. What a night, what a day. Lewis, first of all, thank you for joining.
Also, just for the occasion as well, as always, I didn't get up right, but already know, seeing as we're doing Arsenal away and everything like that, great to be around. Big up everyone that's involved. Pies, Manhandled, Laurenz, all you guys are saying, man. You all good?
I'm good, bro.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Like I said, cheers for coming on. And yeah, we're just kind of questioning Arsenal because obviously we know your hatred for them. We know how good you are at taking the piss out of them. But it's undeniable that we weirdly struggle against them sometimes when we really shouldn't. But they're awful. So, do you have any sort of explanation for me why we struggle against them even though they're awful?
If we take it game by game, the 2-2 draw was just very, very hefty kept-backs and just horrendous finishing in the second half, which typical Chelsea. That's all you can really put it down to, just typical Chelsea. The 3-1, hefty Lampard tax on that. We played 2 injured fullbacks in that game. I don't know what he was on in that match. Werner left wing was annoying, but at the very least, we always did it. So I'm not going to blame him for doing it in that match. But I think just the tactics, the way we set up, and the team was just completely wrong for that game, and we just got exposed on the wings. The 1-0, that's the one where we just played like absolute clowns. Top to bottom, first minute to 90, just clowns. You had Kurt Zuma with awful playing out the back, setting up Jorginho to make that horrendous pass back to Kepa to make it 1-0. Then we allowed Arsenal to sit deep. Kai Havertz could have made it 1-0 in 10 minutes, but he went one-on-one with the keeper and literally skied it. You think he missed about 2 more big chances in that game as well. Mount had a disaster class. Cho and Giroud came on and had disaster classes. Giroud hit the post twice. Zuma hit the crossbar. It was a clown show from top to bottom. We sacrificed that game for the FA Cup final, and we still lost the FA Cup final, so it weren't even really worth it in hindsight. But yeah, the 1-0 is the only one was okay, you know what? Arsenal didn't deserve to win, but we deserved to lose that game the way we were playing because we played like absolute clowns in that match. At least now we have a striker in Romelu Lukaku. I can be a bit more confident for this sort of game because we have someone that I'm sure will be putting balls in the back of the net. And someone who's a presence in the front as well, which is something that we've really lacked in this team for years. We don't have someone who has that presence in the final third. He brings that into the team. But if we let this game down, it'll either be complacency, it will be the fans getting behind Arsenal. Because I know the effect of home fans returning back to grounds has that sort of effect on the team. I've seen it so many times in this match day and the last match day as well, because teams are getting used to it. This is the first time they're playing in front of their home crowd in over a year. That's going to have an effect on them. They're not used to it as if it was any other season. It's still a bit special to them. So if the fans get behind them, that could be a bit of a problem. If we become complacent, which if after losing to them 3 games in a row, we still are, that's completely on the team, then that might be a problem. But those are the only 2 things that have haunted us in the past.
It's a weird one, isn't it? And I'll get to the super chat in just a second as well. Also, we have a surprise guest that I'll, show you on screen in just a second. Like I said, or not like I said, like you said, the whole fans thing, it's weird because in a way, I get what you mean, but I also think if Arsenal fans get behind them, I feel like our players also kind of need that, where it was like a struggle during all this pandemic stuff where there was no fans. If we it can also be a positive for the away team when you feel like, the fans are against you. It can almost push you as well. Even though they're not telling you to, play better type thing, it still pushes you in a way. So I still think sometimes when you get under pressure from the opposition, not just the fans, it's kind of like you have more something to prove them wrong, or I don't know. It gives it this edge. It's difficult to explain. But we also have a super chat here by Dino. Appreciate that as always. Sorry for butchering your name. Not sure if it's Dino or Deno. But anyway, he said that 1-0 was a blooper. We play that again and we win almost every time. See, that's the thing. I kind of agree with Deno here because yeah, we kind of play like clowns that day, Lewis. I don't disagree. And whether it was the Zuma's pass to Jorginho or whether it was Jorginho to Kepa, whether you want to blame those individuals for the goal or Havertz for missing God knows how many chances, but we still were clearly the better team that day. But to make things a bit more interesting, we welcome an Arsenal fan to the stream. Hello, Igor. I think it's your first time on the channel. I think we've spoken before, but I think it was on Football Terrace. So first of all, welcome. Thank you for coming on. But I want to put it to you before I get it back to Jonathan later. As an Arsenal fan, and I know you've spoken to Lewis on his channel as well, but do you see yourself similarly to how we see Arsenal, where it's like, what are you even doing? Like, obviously, everyone knows that Arsenal are a big club. Whether you want to have a banter debate about who's a bigger club or not, it's not what I'm trying to get at. What I'm trying to say, Arsenal are clearly a big club, but for the most part, you don't play like one. But against us, you usually do. Well, I suppose at the Bridge, you just park the bus. But anyway, you still get results against us like you are one. So I'm confused about how like, does it just annoy you, or are you frustrated, or do you have a feeling of we'll click eventually, or like how do you feel?
Listen, we have an issue scoring goals against teams that set up low blocks against us. So when Chelsea play us, they go for the game, and it works to our favor because we are set up defensively and we're countering Chelsea. And at that point, we find you guys in situations where you commit too many men forward, we can catch you out, or you make a defensive error, leads to a goal. If we face Burnley, Newcastle, any team in the league that's not any of the top 6 teams, what happens is they play defensive, we can't break them down, and we can't score a goal because they don't go forward with enough men to give us that opportunity. Where Chelsea, you guys kind of go into the game like we're any other team, and you allow us to use our strengths at that moment.
I hear that. It does make sense. It sounds like Wolves 2 years ago. It sounds like Wolves.
No, it's almost like I'll just say, and you know how Antonio Conte's Chelsea, you guys would play really well and have attacking football, and you have the defensive pragmaticness. It's almost like the best parts of it's the best part of the defense, but the worst part of the attack, because we don't have that attack. We just don't have that attacking prowess where we can go out and attack and play the whole game attacking football, where before we had an identity of attacking football. We're kind of lost right now. We don't have an identity. That's the main issue.
It's weird, isn't it? Because, you brought Arteta in presumably with the hope of doing at least something similar to what Pep obviously did or is doing at City in terms of at least play style, not necessarily expecting him to be as successful immediately. That would be silly. But at least with the play style, and like you say, you watch them play and you're like, you clearly have a lot of good footballers. You have a rough idea of what to do, but it's just, against us, you usually play pretty well defensively. Sure, it's also a case of we miss chances, especially in that obviously 1-0 last season. But it's also like what you did against Brentford. Like you don't do those defensive mistakes against us. It's like you need the pressure of a big opponent where you're like a rival, and then you kind of like realize, okay, we need to properly play here. More so, I feel like for your defenders than your other players. But like that throwing goal, Chelsea will never score that type of goal against you tomorrow. Like there's no chance that happens to you against the Chelsea, but it happened against the Brentford.
It's lack of concentration. When we face Chelsea, we are up for the game. When we face Tottenham, we're up for the game. When we face any big team, we're up for the game. When we face Brighton, when we face any other team, Newcastle, you know what I mean? It's almost like we play down to their level and we play up to the level of our opponents. It's almost like we match the intensity of who we're playing. We don't play every game like it's the same game. You're not going to see the same performance every week because the players are not up for every game. They're almost like they're emotionally driven to succeed in certain games, and then other games they just down their tools and they show that they're not as good as they really were.
Yeah, I hear that. It's a weird one. It's honestly a weird one to me. Like, obviously, we take the piss and everything, but then when I think about it, it's just so many things just don't make sense. But Jonathan, after what Igal said now, and I think we can all agree that he's not like waffling it, I do think he's right. Otherwise the results, there's no other explanation for their results than this, in my opinion. But But how do we go against that? Because obviously you could say if all Arsenal want us to do is take the game so they can basically play the underdog and hit us on the counter and hope they, we make a mistake or they, pounce on something. Just let them play the game. We know they're not good enough at it, but we know that we're good at countering and sitting deep. So should we do that? Or is it just a case of they're going to just do it more and eventually the players that we have, whether it's Jorginho, whether it's Mount, Havertz, whoever plays, we'll get to that later, just will eventually automatically take control because they're like, well, if they don't want it, we'll just take it type thing?
I think we just have to play our normal game and not think too much about them, because if we start going against what we think Arsenal are going to do, the countering, trying to get in behind the wing backs, we just need to play our own game. And I think one of the ways we're going to play our own game tomorrow is by having Chilwell back and maybe having Azpilicueta or Reece James that right wing back, because then you've got defensive or better defensive wing backs in the team. So there isn't going to be as much space in behind. You have a back three where, if Arsenal don't have a striker playing up against them, we're going to have to step out. So we need to make sure that both wing backs are not up at the same time. You have Alonso, you have Hudson-Odoi in like the Palace game. They're both going to be forward or both more attacking minded. We've got more defensively minded wing backs. I think we should be able to handle anything that Arsenal throw at us. I'm not convinced with how they're played against Brentford. I know, as I said before, that they are going to change tact. But I mean, looking at the top six, the little battle of the top six, that the previous top six that we talked about, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, United and Tottenham. Arsenal got 13 points last year out of those 10 games. So 13 out of 30 isn't too bad. Winning 4, drew 1, lost 5. So Eagles right in the sense that, they do perform better against these teams. But as I said before, I just cannot see any way that Chelsea don't turn up tomorrow with Tuchel's motivation going, let's not be complacent, because they are going to be better than against Brentford. And we cannot allow this to happen. As I said, 1 week of getting into the players' minds tactically, about getting more into their legs, I just can't see how Tuchel lets this happen. I think that 1-0 was an anomaly. I think the FA Cup final was a bit of a disaster as well. But I know that was against Leicester. But the season before under Lampard, it was just, there's so many things that just point to me that Tuchel's going to get this one right. And he's had a week to think about this. We've got Lukaku coming in. And I mean, if you look at what Tuchel said on Lukaku, he said, we hope he's on the pitch for Sunday. And it looks like it. Is he the missing piece? We hope he is. Is that a plot to say he's going to start against Arsenal? He's going to come off the bench? Whatever's going to happen, he is one thing that Arsenal are not going to like to play against. So, yeah, I think Arsenal are going to set up, as we know they're going to do, defensively, try and hit us on the counter. But we just have to play our own game. And if we play our own game, we should win the game.
We probably should. And I put it to Pies now, but we'll go back in a circle back to Igal in the end. Although I do see a rather entertaining conversation about what Igal means in German. Although I'm not sure I agree with this comment by Amma here that it means never mind. It can have multiple meanings. But regardless, let's move on. Let's not take the piss out of people's names.
In many different languages. In German, I'm pretty sure it means like not a concern or something like that. Yeah,
not a concern or irrelevant or never mind. It's just a word that can have multiple meanings depending on the context.
Equal in French. In Arabic, it's considered the hat that you wear on top of the Arab cloth that you wear on your head. And in Somali, it's il-tirit, which means like get rid of problems or something like that.
Well, see, we'll learn something new every day. But is it your actual name or is it something you use online?
Actual name.
Decent. Fair play. But let me put it to you, Pies. After what Igal talked about, but also what Jonathan just said in terms of the Lukaku, do you think that having Lukaku can be enough? Because this time is where we struggled against Arsenal. If you think back all these years, sure, Costa was part of it when we lost under Kante, but obviously that defeat then made us change formation and win the league, essentially. So, we can't complain too much. But ever since then, part of the problem has been not taking chances, whether it was Kai last season, whether it was that Morata shambles away at the Emirates, like that one season under Conte, I'm pretty sure. Is just that Lukaku being here and having that striker that hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, all sorts of things, that can just take the chances that we probably will create. Is that going to be the decisive difference and all we need, or is there a bit more to it?
No, honestly, I think it will be the decisive difference. I think it could be the difference tomorrow in the game as well. A lot of low balls in the box, even last week against Crystal Palace, that we wasn't quite there. It was going close, and sometimes attackers weren't in the box or in the right position. And I just think having that presence up front is going to be so important. And I've been really impressed with his interviews this week as well. Just talking about how much he's improved, how much now he's a leader, he's more mature, he can play with his back to goal now. So, before he had doubts over that with himself, but obviously he's worked on that with Antonio Conte, and he just gives us so many different options, man. Like, we can be unpredictable now. We can play a 2 up top. We can play 3-5-2. We could go kind of like a 4-2-4. What we tried in pre-season once. We can play our normal formation. So we've got lots of different options, and I think that's going to be a really good thing because he's just a complete player now. He really is, and I think he'll score a lot of goals for us. And tomorrow is going to be really interesting if he does start, because I'm not sure who's going to play next to Ben White, but with Ben White himself and seeing how he got quite bullied last week by Tony, I mean, yeah, Lukaku, especially ball into his feet, with the way he rolls people and stuff. An example of that was against who was it in the Euros? He played, I think it was Finland. I think it was a really nice goal. Yeah, where you could see a situation where Mount off the left, it was kind of the same. It was off the left for Belgium. He came in, he played the ball into Lukaku. Lukaku took a touch, just literally spun him and scored straight away. Like, that could be a really nice thing tomorrow against Ben White and the other centre back, because I think Lukaku will seriously cause damage if he's on his game. I think he will be as well. He's just, he's 100% there, and I hope he does start, man.
I do agree. I know Igal needs to head out again fairly soon. So because you just mentioned it there in terms of who will play, is we're not kind of sure for Arsenal. So what I thought we'd quickly do and ask Igal what he thinks Arsenal will turn up with. I reckon that would be quite interesting. I'm not sure if I'm showing you the right thing now or the wrong thing. Nope, the wrong thing. I meant to get the other one up with the red players. 1 second.
I did a combined 11 on my Twitter. If you want, I can send it to you.
And he's gone.
Yeah, he disappeared because he knew that combined 11 was full of wild.
You know what wants to come?
Yeah,
because a combined 11 will end up in us just arguing about.
Not combined 11. My actual 11 that I think will play for Arsenal.
All right, send me that quickly, because then I just get it up on screen. That's probably a bit quicker.
Yeah, because instead of making it from scratch, right?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. But because it is interesting. I mean, you mentioned it there. We can just start talking about it as it is already, I suppose. But
sent it over to you.
Yeah, just saw it already. We'll get it up now.
I don't think anyone can actually predict the lineup because we haven't played with a back three in a while, and we don't know who's going to actually play in our back three, who's going to play as the wing backs, who's going to play in the front three, if Aubameyang's even going to start. So I just went with, based off what I know from last week, I'm going to go with this team that I sent to you.
Fair play. Let me just get it up here, because it's an interest. So you are very confident that you will adapt to the 3-back because we play the 3-back.
I think we were going to, because we have done that consistently with Arteta. Whenever we face a team that has a back three, we switch straight to a back three. And we did it with the last game we played with you guys also.
It's true, yeah. I mean, to be honest, a lot of teams do it against us. Can I actually bring this up differently?
Yeah, if you share screen it.
Now I see what you were trying to get me to do. Makes sense, mate. Cheers.
Yeah.
See, sharing just the Twitter screen makes so much sense. There you go. But I mean, obviously, I've seen it already now. But if you go with the back three, as we expect you to do, let's minimize this if it works. Nope. All the wrong buttons. I'm clicking it. That's crazy.
People see your DMs.
People see my DMs. That's so dangerous.
Hey, that's me.
There you are.
Is that the predict? That's your predicted one, right? Or is that the combined 11?
No. He's talking about the predicted. That's basically what we're trying to get up.
That's my predicted 11.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, we all expect Leno in goal. Do you think Mari will stay in the back three? Yeah.
It's between Mari or Holding at this point. I don't see how we're gonna go without Tierney in the team. But I would say every time we've gone to a back three, Kieran Tierney has been the left-sided center back. So it's between get Tierney in there and double up on that side, or you put Tierney as the left wing back and you play Mari there and you put Holding in. But that would be a very slow team against Lukaku and Mount and whoever else you put in your team. So based on Chelsea, I don't know. Do you guys have a lot of pace in your front line?
I mean, it also depends on who we play, because
It's
obviously
very fast. It's definitely very fast. Mount and Havertz are very, very quick on the break, especially.
they're quick, but it's not like Timo Werner quick. If Werner doesn't play, do you know what I mean? Like in terms of just pace.
Okay. So based on that, if who's going to be playing on the left side?
Our left side, probably Werner, I think, but it might be Mount.
Okay, and who's going to be playing on the right?
Kai, 100%.
So if Kai Havertz playing on the right, we're going to be trying to get him out of the game with Kieran Tierney and either Saka or Nuno Tavares on the left wing back. So we're going to have two. We're going to have two people, or that are almost defenders, or a little bit inverted wing backs on that left side, where we're going to have a natural defense on the right side, and Ben White and either Suarez or Chambers or Bellerin or Ainsley Maitland-Niles, depending on who plays. But this is similar to what we did last time, where we went with the back three, and Saka is going to be one of the wing backs.
I hear that. It does make sense. I have a question about Lukaku a little bit, because I don't really know much about him, if I'm being totally honest with you. Do you see a lot in him? Is he the guy that's going to sit in midfield next to Xhaka now, or is there a chance that it's not Lukaku but somebody else in midfield there?
The thing about Lukaku is Xhaka lacks the pace and the mobility in the midfield, where he can just turn on a dime, receive the ball under pressure, and orchestrate passes and pick out individual passes, where Lukaku can do that. Also, with Xhaka, you have a player who is, since he's a lot slower, he needs to be a lot more calculated with his decision making, where Lukaku can do things more off instinct, and it allows you to have a more free-flowing game, a better attack overall, and he can pick out passes that Xhaka cannot pick out, because Xhaka at times he'll pick the safe pass to the left back or to the midfielder next to him, where Lukaku will spray the pass across two people over to the left wing back, instead of just passing the ball straight to Xhaka to make that pass.
I hear that. And obviously, Aubameyang is meant to be back, but obviously, I mean, maybe you as an Arsenal, do you know, is he like fit, or is he just tested negative?
Okay, so he tested negative for COVID. He hasn't trained with the team yet. I haven't seen him in any of the training photos. Okay. But when it comes to Aubameyang coming back into the team straight away, Arteta does have a history of throwing players straight back into the team, so I wouldn't be surprised. But at this moment, when I was making the prediction, I did not think Aubameyang would make it straight back into the team. We still have to wait and see.
Fair enough. But you do think it's the only reason was obviously them testing positive. It had nothing to do with, Aubameyang and Lacazette are turning on Arteta and they want out. You think that was a bit of conspiracy theory, I assume?
No, that is straight conspiracy theory. People making things out of nowhere. I've heard rumors of him going to Barcelona. I've heard rumors of him going all over the world. At this point, there's no one coming in for Aubameyang. No one's coming in for Lacazette. They're going to be here until the end of the season, at least next season. And I think Arteta has plans for them. They haven't fallen out with Arteta. It's just they missed the game due to COVID, and the Premier League hid that. And the Premier League hid that from everybody for the first game.
It's weird, isn't it? But Chelsea also, obviously when we are, Pulisic has now tested positive and we'll miss the game tomorrow before we get into our lineup in a minute. And Romelu AFTV is still, as far as I'm aware, the reason why he's not been involved in anything is still because he tested positive after the Super Cup. And obviously no one even mentioned this. Obviously some journalists or some in the know people spoke about this, but it's weird that the clubs don't make that public. I don't know. But I also find it strange if you think back to the Euros, and it's not that long ago. The fact that Mason Mount and Ben Chilwell had to self-isolate for talking to Billy Gilmore, but now, a few Arsenal players tested positive. Surely by that logic, at least their changing room, obviously we have all split changing rooms into smaller groups, surely at least their changing room would then have to quarantine. I don't understand these rules at all. But with that said, before we get into the Chelsea team that all of us expected, Igal, I appreciate you a lot for joining and giving us a little bit of an insight to Arsenal, which we might not have thought of. Everyone subscribe to EGTV. That'd be brilliant. Link I'll put down in the description after the stream. But yeah, Igal, thank you for joining, and we'll talk to you soon, mate.
Appreciate it, bro. Have a good one, Jonathan. Everyone else, what's his name? Carefree and my guy Piz.
See ya, bro.
Cheers, mate. Brilliant. Right. So let's get the different share screen up here because let's get through our team because I think it's very interesting. There you go. Because I actually think it's going to be very interesting. Your Pys seemed very confident there, but I do personally believe there is a lot of potential for surprises in this team tomorrow. So we'll get through it. There's a lot to discuss because, there's more players than usual, in my opinion, where I'm not 100% sure. Lewis, I haven't really let you speak in a minute. I do apologize about that.
It's cool. I've been chilling.
Brilliant. Love to hear that. Now, first of all, on the things that Igal turned up with here, do you agree with what he said? Or do you think he's just either slightly deluded or just a normally biased Arsenal fan?
He said a lot more sense there than he did on my stream, to be fair, so I'll give him credit for that. I get what you're saying. With the lineup more or less makes sense. I just don't think it makes much of a difference whoever they play. Whoever they play, we should be beating. And if we don't beat them, fucking hell, man. Trust me, that's a load of bullshit.
Are you going tomorrow, mate?
Yeah, I got my ticket all sorted. I can't wait.
Sick.
Hopefully you make it a 6th win at the Emirates in Premier League history. Hopefully.
That's ridiculous that we've only won that 5 times. We need to change that.
Oh no, we're the joint highest winners in Premier League history.
It doesn't matter. It should be 15 anyway.
It really should. There's hella draws in there, and obviously a few bullshit losses like last season. But let's just try and change that. If Arteta goes 4-0 up against my club, I don't want to be in that sort of a world.
No, we definitely do not. Before we get into the team, ladies and gentlemen, we nearly have 300 people watching, which is brilliant. So if you're new here, please be sure to subscribe. That'd be honestly massively appreciated. Smash that like button for me. Let me see how many likes you want. Definitely not anywhere near enough. Because you people are lazy people. You just watch and you're chilling. Just click this little button for me down below. It's just a little thumb, Who doesn't like clicking the thumb? Just click it. It turns blue as well. Blue's the color, the same as London. So, click that, turn that blue. Let's get to, we have, like I said, nearly 300 people. So let's get to 200 likes. Doesn't cost you any money, barely cost you any time, and it will be massively appreciated. But like I just put here already, one of the positions we can be dead certain about who starts is Edouard Mendy. It's going to be in goal. As much as Kepa is a big man for what he did in the Super Cup final, it's going to be Edouard Mendy in goal. The next player where I'm very certain about is the left side of centre-back. It's going to be Antonio Rudiger. From then onwards, there's a lot of question about a lot of position, in my opinion. So does everyone just agree with these two at least?
Yeah, Mendy, Rudiger. Yeah, that's sorted for me.
Fair play. So I think we'll get to what it says here, player number 2 first, because obviously Christensen, in my opinion, was absolutely brilliant against Crystal Palace. Aside from Trevor Chalobah scoring the goal, I think Christensen was potentially our best player on the day. He was absolutely brilliant in every sense of the word. But that means we still haven't played Thiago Silva. And is the kind of game away at Arsenal, the type of game where Thomas Tuchel will turn to Thiago Silva and start him? I see it as a chance, but it's also harsh to not play Christensen. So I'll put it to you first, Jonathan. Do you think it's going to be Christensen or Silva?
I have a feeling it'll be Christensen. I think you've got sort of Chilwell that could come in. You've got Reece James that could come in. And obviously Thiago Silva. I think you either go with all 3 of them or you probably don't go with any of them and you keep the core team that played against Palace. That obviously includes Alonso, Chalobah and Christensen. I think that's the real decision. I think he goes for all or I don't think he goes for any. But Thiago Silva's experience, his quality is something that we will need because if the game doesn't go as we plan, we need a nice, calm, cool head at the back, someone that is a leader that will marshal the defence. And this isn't taking anything away from Christensen, great defender, but Silva just has that stability that, throughout a game that I just feel like maybe it's a bit too early. I'd love to see Chilwell. I talked earlier about having more defensive wing backs to try and counter Arsenal's 1 or 2 only threats. I just feel like, it's a bit early and Christensen will probably start.
See, I don't necessarily disagree. It was an interesting girlfriend brought it up, to be fair to her. It's like, we'll get to the right-sided centre-back in a second, in terms of if it's Chalobah. Because Thiago Silva and Chalobah haven't played together. So if you're sticking with Chalobah, it's risky to play Thiago. Not that Thiago can't handle it, but obviously, especially in a game where we've struggled a little bit with the opponent recently, is it smart to play 2 together that haven't played together before? I mean, Thiago hasn't been in training for very long either. Sure, I know Christensen hasn't either, but at least they've now played together, right? So to me, it would make sense to stick with Christensen if you want to play Chalobah. But if you play Aspi, go at right centre-back and you put Reece James at right wing-back, you go with Thiago. That's what I'd say. So before we make a final decision on who is the central centre-back, I reckon let's move to the right centre back and let's ask Pice. Who do you think is going to be the right side of centre back? Chalobah or Reece James? Not Reece James. Sorry, Azpi.
100% Chalobah, bro. 100% going to be Chalobah for me.
Okay, before we continue with that, then, do you think Azpi remains a right wing back, or do you think Azpi's dropped?
I think Azpi don't start in this game, which is controversial.
Ooh, I don't see that. I don't see Tuchel doing that, but fair.
It is controversial, but I don't think he's going to start.
It's a weird one. I mean, hey, fair enough. Lewis, do you agree? Chalobah right centre back, Reece James right wing back, and Azpi does not start. Do you think that is something that could actually happen? Or do you think Azpi will, go into the centre-back 3 and Chalobah is left out?
I see Chalobah starting and potentially, very potentially. I could see because we have tougher games coming up as well. I think Reece James plays anyway because we do need to get a match sharp soon. We have tougher games coming up.
Yeah. Also, he came on against Palace, and I think the fact that we'll get to the left wing back, but he came on. Surely that had to have been with the intention of making sure he's fully match fit and not just having a game against Weymouth in his legs.
Yeah. I think Reece James at right wing back would work for me in this game. I think potentially Silva could be back for this match, potentially because I don't think they came back too. How late did they come back into training from Brazil for pre-season?
A couple of weeks ago, because even Firmino's not been playing for Liverpool, and he's been in that squad as well. The thing is, Chilwell didn't really even play in the Euros. I know he came back a bit later as well, but Chilwell you'd think would be someone that would have played some minutes already this season.
You know what, Jonathan? I can't remember who said this to me, but I made this very same point, and then someone countered that by saying, "Yeah, he's even less match fit." Because his last game is way longer ago than everybody else's, which I thought that's a fair point that I hadn't even considered. Because sure, he was training with England, but he hasn't actually played since May.
Yeah,
true, but then he's had the rest.
Yeah,
but
the
Alonso didn't play at all.
With or without it, he's had 3 weeks where he's had no football or anything. He's just been on vacation, so he's still going to have to come back into match fitness as well. And then that's before we even take into the fact that he hasn't had a game since May, which is mad. I still think Chilwell should start anyway because we do need to get his sharpness up sooner rather than later. So I'd rather we just get over and done with in this match. But in terms of the back 3, I'd still say, you know what? Yeah, go Christensen and Chalobah. It makes the most sense. They'll be the most fit back 3 for it.
Jonathan, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I just think Chalobah was fantastic against Palace. He was fantastic in the Super Cup. I think you just need to reward him. How can you drop him? What does that show to the squad if you took it? If you play well to then be taken out, I just feel like stick with him, be faithful, and I think someone has now got to play better than him. Come in and play better. If Chalobah continues to play, he just plays. Reece James came in, did really well, which is why he stuck around. If players are playing as good as they can be, then you keep him in the team.
It's just the question with Chalobah, in my opinion, is just, if he plays, who does he keep out, Azpi or James? That's kind of the problem, because Tuchel has spoken about this last season, a lot. Obviously, we're in a new season. He's had more time with the squad, so maybe this doesn't apply as much anymore. But you could see with Tuchel, there was just never any debate that Azpi would start. He was like, I need the captain on the pitch. I need it. But obviously now that he's had more time with the squad, he's had pre-season, maybe that's less of an extreme concern for him. So that's why I see a potential for what Pice said in terms of Reece James at right wing back and Chalobah remaining at right centre back. But then just quickly, Pice, if it's Chalobah, do you agree that it needs to be Christensen and not Thiago?
No, see, for me, I completely disagree. I want Silva playing in this game. And I don't think it's as much as a risk as you guys think it is, because Silva is the leader anyway. I think Chalobah...
No, not the problem isn't for Silva. The problem is for Chalobah, that he hasn't played with Silva and doesn't know his movement. Obviously, Silva will be fine.
It doesn't
He's
matter.
Silva.
They're still trained together. Like, they'll understand each other.
10 days, do you know what I mean? Not a lot.
But I think Chalobah is quite an intelligent player. Like, with his growth and his development in these games, like I have no doubt that he could play with Silva. Like, Silva will direct him. Jorginho will help as well, because he drops into the free sometimes off the ball. So I think, I don't see a problem. The thing is with me, and I love Christensen, by the way. I'm one of his biggest fans and supporters. I have been for ages, but I I don't know, man. I'm not seeing many Chelsea fans talk about Thiago Silva anymore. Like, I don't know. I think some of our fans have forgot how good he was last season. Like, for me, if he's ready to play, he starts. Like, forget Rudiger, forget Christensen. Like, for me, in centre back, if he's fit, he's number one choice. He plays. Simple as that.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. My problem and question is
Silva
no. Hold up. That's not what I'm questioning. I'm questioning if a game against Weymouth, whatever he played, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, is enough match fitness for a 37-year-old or nearly 37-year-old. That's what I'm questioning. I'm not questioning his ability. I'm questioning if he's ready to start against Arsenal at the Emirates, where we've struggled for a few years.
I understand that, but then he's not going to start against Liverpool next week if he don't start.
No, and I get the problem. I get it.
Like,
this
is the problem, right? Because it's the same with wing-backs, right? If you don't play Chilwell, if you don't start Chilwell, well, when does he get his minutes? Unless you bed them in through subs. Yeah. Like, say you play
with Chilwell, that maybe works. Wing-back, sure, you can bring on. But you're not going to bring on Thiago Silva for Christensen in mid-game.
Centre-backs is so difficult. Like, with Silva, you're going to have to start him in one of these next 2 games because otherwise he's never going to play. Like, it's just...
Who do we have
he's
after
got to get minutes into
Does anyone remember?
I think it's Villa. Is it Villa after Liverpool?
Yeah, Villa after Liverpool, yeah.
Maybe only Villa is
the international break, I think, don't we?
Is and then Villa before or after the international break?
Villa's after the international break. I think it's 11 September.
Man.
I think,
so we've got an international break already. I want to shoot myself.
Yeah.
All right.
Laurenz, I mean, I don't think Pys makes... I think you make good points. Laurenz, personally, I'd actually go Christensen and Azpi. No, actually, I'd go Christensen and Challo because I feel Azpi's one of these players that I'm like, just doesn't play as well against Arsenal as I want him to do all the time. Do you know, he's one of those players. And I feel like throwing someone like Chalobah, he will more understand that Arsenal are not a good team anymore and just play. While someone, experienced and older like Azpi will be like, oh, Arsenal are a big team. It doesn't matter. Just batter them.
Just to add to that, Chalobah also played at the Emirates 3 weeks ago, and that should just make him a bit more comfortable going into this sort of game too.
Very good point.
Just wanted to add that part, and that's it.
No, it's a very good point. I mean, Kino said here, why do you guys forget we're in 4 different competitions? I mean, we're in more than that if you include the Club World Cup. But that's irrelevant right now if you want Thiago Silva to play anywhere before, late September. Yeah, that's basically what we're going on about here. But I'll leave it at this for now. Obviously, I put Thiago Silva and Azpi there. Maybe we'll get back into the discussion. It's basically we're not sure. That's basically what we're getting to. And it's a similar situation with the left wing back. I mean, I think Lewis and Pys have both said basically start Chilwell. I would agree.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, I can't remember, did you say it as well?
100%. As I said, defensively, we need to be a little bit more switched on. Alonso, as much as he scores a nice goal against Arsenal, I just feel like the only way they're going to get in behind us is in the space when our wing-backs go forward. And if we've got 2 that want to go forward, that's when we could be a little bit susceptible. So, yeah, definitely Chilwell.
I mean, I think it's fair. I would also go with Chilwell, although I think it's almost as harsh on Alonso not playing him as it would be on not playing Chalobah. Like, everyone knows I'm the opposite of a big fan of Marcos Alonso, but he was brilliant against Palace, and not just because he scored the free kick. And he was also one of our best players against Villarreal, in my opinion. In the second half, the only player that actually tried to attack. Or not second half, from late in the first half until, well, to be honest, until the rest of the game for the most part, in all honesty. So it would almost feel a little bit harsh on him, but I completely agree. Pepe's pace on that side, if he plays, is that what I want against Alonso? Not really. So I'd go Chilwell, but I wouldn't be totally surprised if Tuchel sticks with Alonso, if I'm honest with you guys.
So
Alonso has his uses, to be honest, though, doesn't he?
And in a London
he's not for every game.
We'll have confidence in these sorts of games too. So if he started, I wouldn't be too surprised. But I also want Chilwell to be more match fit for Liverpool because I do not want Alonso starting that game.
No, yeah, I agree with that. But I mean, Chilwell, like I said, the left wing back role, you could start Alonso, play him an hour, and then bring Chile on. Like, that's going to be fine.
Also, just a waste of a sub, really.
It's true.
I get it.
Very, very
I
true.
get it, though.
Moving up to the midfield, what we do know is Jorginho will start, whether it's the left side or the right side, doesn't matter. Jorginho will start. Anyone that doesn't like it, get him in, because he will. And he will also win UEFA Player of the Year, which is going to be fantastic. The question next to him is N'Golo Kante fit? Because if Kante is fit to start, he starts. I'm pretty confident in. If it's not, obviously, will be Kovacic. Do any of you know any more have you heard anything about Kante? Obviously, we know he's in training, and Tuchel said yesterday, they're all looking pretty good in terms of being in the squad. But he didn't say it like they're gonna start, did he?
I saw Nazar's comments after Tuchel's interview. He basically said on Ziyech and Kante, they'll decide after today's training session at 11 o'clock. But right now, he just said it's positive they'll be in the squad.
Exactly.
And we know Kante's injury problems. We know the issues he's had. Why risk him in a game like this? Well, I don't think he is essential. Whereas the Liverpool game, he's essential.
I agree.
I just wouldn't risk it. Maybe bring him on as a sub. And then if we need to control the game, if we need to get a bit of energy, then you bring on Kante. But I just think in this one, why risk him for a game? In my opinion, we don't particularly need him. I know that sounds stupid because Kante's a great player, but we know his history. If you see a little sneak or any possibility that he could have an injury or that something could be building up, you've got to take him out of the firing line. So maybe a sub.
Hey, I'd agree. Lewis, what about you? Do you think it's more likely to be Jorginho and Kova, because of the fitness situation?
Yeah, Kante always needs to be more protected with his injuries, and it's going to be a big miss if he can't make this game. But Jorginho and Kovacic should be enough to handle Arsenal's midfield anyway. They're going to be good enough at retaining possession and releasing the ball out as well. It's just final ball and a bit of attack, like final goal threat, like assists or shots from range. But we know neither of them are going to bring that into their game anyway. That's not their game. And regardless, we should be fine anyway. So yeah, I'll go Jorginho and Kovacic. They've played the last few games anyway.
Yeah. Just to clarify, by the way, to anyone watching, Lewis didn't mean Kante does bring that when Kovacic and Jorginho don't. That's not what he's trying to say. He's just saying they don't do it. But Pys, I assume you agree as well. Obviously, you're a big fan of Kovacic.
Yeah, I am. I'd love Kante to play, obviously, but I just think maybe it's cutting it a little bit too short. I don't know. He might start, but I agree with what Jonathan said. Liverpool, Kante has to start, like 100%. So I think just give him an extra week of training, maybe come off the bench last 20 minutes, get a few minutes in his legs, see how he is. But yeah, I think Kovacic, Jorginho for this game, and I like that as well because I think if they try and press us, Kovacic and Jorginho are the two perfect players to get out of a press, either by passing it or just with Kovacic especially, he just rolls and slides away and dribbles past people. So yeah, I think it'll be a good combination as well on the ball. I think we'll have a lot of control with them too. Playing it side to side, out wide as well. I just think they understand each other so much because they've played so many times together in the pivot. So I think it'll be good for this game. A lot of space as well at the Emirates. I always think, I know all pitches are the same size, but when you watch the game, I always think Emirates is a massive pitch. So I just think they'll have a lot of room to play ball, I think.
Hey, I agree. But by the way, guys, we nearly have 400 people watching, which is absolutely brilliant. So if you're here, please be sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers, so get subscribed. Every new subscribe counts. And we still haven't hit 200 likes. So what you doing? Nearly 400 people. Go down below, smash that like button for me. Like I said, it would turn a lovely blue. Like London, it is blue, right? So turn it blue. Doesn't cost you any money, barely cost you any time. Just do that. Before we move on to the front three, I put in a title, Lukaku starts. People are saying, who said that? I told you already, I'm saying that. It's going to happen. So, I mean, if any of you three disagree, I know Pys isn't, but if, Lewis or Jonathan would disagree, please tell me. But I think the question is just about who starts around him, because every word that Thomas Tuchel has said so far tells me that Timo Werner keeps starting. As much as it makes me want to rip my own eyes out, it just sounds like, even in the press conference yesterday, he's like, he will also allow other people to thrive, and then naming them. Started with Timo, then saying Kai, then saying Pulisic. Didn't mention Mason. Mason starts anyway. For me, it's just a case between Kai and Timo. I can't lie. It's ridiculous. If there's any sort of debate whether Timo Werner should start over Kai Havertz, there's no chance ever in any life, in any dimension, anywhere. But I feel like it is because Mount just starts under Tuchel. I mean, everyone needs to accept that. Mount has his haters, but he just starts. But I just don't know if it's going to be Kai or Timo, I feel like it's going to be Timo, even though I wanted to be Kai, especially after Kai didn't start the last game. Unless, do any of you see Mount drop? Let me go with you first, Lewis. Who do you think the two around Lukaku will be?
I think Havertz starts regardless.
Okay.
And
Do you drop Mount for this game though? Because I want to see Werner and Lukaku play together, but I just don't think Werner's justified his place in the team either. I think if Werner and Lukaku play together, you see a 4-3-1-2 instead of a 4-3-2-1. If he
You think we're going to change the back four? Is what you're saying?
No. If I think we play the same formation, but it's Havertz in behind Lukaku and Werner up top.
So you think
If
Mason
we play
Mount's dropped?
No, if we play Werner, that's the formation.
Okay, yeah, I hear you. Yeah,
Because I don't see Havertz getting dropped either.
that's the problem.
That's the thing.
problem.
I don't see Havertz or Mount getting dropped based off Werner's recent form. Mount hasn't played enough. So
Mount's played enough.
did he start the game on Saturday?
Yeah, he started against Palace and came on in the 60th against Villarreal, and then obviously with extra time played an hour.
Oh, fucking hell. Okay, I didn't think he played. All right, yeah, then Mount definitely starts then. Yeah, Werner probably gets dropped for this game. It is what it is.
Well, I bloody hope
I'd
so.
rather have Werner coming off the bench anyway, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I think he'd be good against tired legs, and then we can play two up top. And that'd be a good time to just test out a little bit.
I mean, if we consider not playing a left side, but playing a 2 and then a 10 behind, it's even less of a debate whether Chilwell or Alonso starts. But personally, before I put it to Jonathan and Pies, I think it will give it 2-3 more weeks before we do the proper 2 up front and the 10 thing, just because I think the players are more used to it like this, and then give them a little bit of time before we switch it. I know we've switched it already, and we've done it in preseason, we've done it last season, I get that. But I still think they're more used to this. So I think a week's training will not be enough for them to change it yet. I mean, maybe one of you disagrees, but do apologize about the ambulance noise in the background. Pies, you seem very confident it's going to be Mason and Kai. Are you?
Personally, I'm not confident, but that would be my 2, and then obviously Lukaku up front. I don't know, man. I've really wanted the guys in the press conference to ask him about Mount, because he said with the people who Lukaku's going to help around him on the sides, he was like Pulisic, Werner, Kai, Ziyech, or something like that. Like he never mentioned Mason Mount, so I don't know.
You know what that to me means, though? To me, that means Mount doesn't need help.
Yeah, but then I don't know, man. I'm so
There's
like
no chance he's dropping Mount. I can't just.
But I'm so confused, because then for me personally, there's no chance he drops Werner, even though that's the logical thing to do from fans' perspective. What has Tuchel?
That's why I'm fearing he drops Kai. That's why I'm fearing he drops Kai.
If Kai starts, like if it's Werner, Mount, and Lukaku, I'm not happy. Kai starts 100%. Like he's just too good to be benched.
Especially tomorrow. Like, he's wearing special boots because he's raising awareness and trying to
100%.
raise funds for the flooding victims in Germany and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, surely tomorrow you have to start him.
100%.
Tuchel is German as well.
No,
it's like he doesn't want charity for Germany.
100%. And I can't remember who said it, but someone said it's going to be between Werner and Kai. I think it's going to be between Werner and Mount, personally, because Kai's got that right spot. He's kind of, does that with Ziyech, kind of on that side. And then the left, Mount's really always played at sort of left for Tuchel, and then Werner always plays on the left. So it's between those two for me. Personally, obviously, it's Mount starting, but I can just see him trying Werner and Lukaku. But then if that comes out, everyone's going to be like, oh my God, Mount's bench, what the hell is going on? Like
Against Liverpool next week, I would do that. But not Arsenal tomorrow.
Yeah, see, I prefer Werner against Liverpool because of their high line. Like, even you saw last season, Werner wasn't very good, but he was, like, destroying them with the runs. Like, even today, you see Burnley were, like, getting in behind and crap like that. So, yeah, that's for next week. But this week, as soon as that lineup comes out, I'm looking who's on the left, because that's going to tell me a lot, I think.
Hey, it is true. But Jonathan, how do you see him? Also, Chester scores. Please do not say Mason's name again. Johnny will appear like Beetlejuice. Brilliant. Love that. But Jonathan, how do you see it? Because one of these three, presuming Hakim Ziyech is not fit to start, we've seen some videos in training, he is in training, but he doesn't seem to like to use his right arm. So he kind of just leaves it hanging down. So it doesn't look like an arm that will start a football game to me. I mean, there's another two, that was the videos of yesterday. So there's going to be, 1.5 days rest until the game, so there is a chance because he's been absolutely fantastic in preseason and against Villarreal. So if Ziyech is fit, that makes the whole thing even more difficult. But let's presume he's not fit to start. Obviously, we know Pulisic is out. So it's between Mason, Kai, and Timo. It's between those three. So between those three, Jonathan, who do you think is the one that's going to miss out, I suppose, on starting?
A few points I want to make. I mean, I'm still not massively confident Lukaku is going to start. Just as I said, dissecting Tuchel's comments, maybe he's playing with Arteta and
but
Arsenal.
even if he doesn't, then we know the front three anyway.
Yeah, we know the front 300%. It'll be, Werner, Mount, and Havertz. I just think, if Lukaku starts, I'm completely with Pice. Havertz has to start. The way he glides around the pitch, he can do pretty much everything that we need in attack. He's got an eye for goal. He can assist. He just glides around the pitch. He creates space. He'll then come inside. He's happy to get it into feet. He'll look in between the lines. There's so many reasons why Havertz has to play. And look, my other point is Werner against an Arsenal side that is going to sit back. They're going to low block. They're going to look to hit us on the counter. There isn't going to be much space in behind. And the only real attribute that Werner brings, and like Pi said, is suitable for a team like Liverpool with a higher line, with a bit more space in behind. His attributes, the way he plays football is generally just pace and looking for it in behind. Not as many, well, I wouldn't say as many touches, as less touches as possible, really. So in this sort of game where it's going to be tight, they're going to have 5 at the back. There's not going to be much space. Werner pretty much sticks to that left-hand side. There's not too much movement, which means Lukaku would be up top. Havertz would then have to be staying on the right-hand side. If you have a fluid front three, or Lukaku will move a little bit, be a bit more fixed than other players, but Mount and Havertz switch positions. If you switch positions as an Arsenal defence, they don't know who they're marking. As soon as you switch them or bring them out, Mount and Havertz will happily drop deep. Werner isn't really going to look to drop it deep. He always wants it in behind. Mount and Havertz drop a little bit deeper. They switch positions. That will confuse the Arsenal defence. And that's what's going to create the space. And then for Chilwell, James, Alonso, whoever plays as the wing-backs to then get in behind. And what better subs than to have someone like Ziyech to pick out the pacey Werner against tired legs, like Lewis said about Arsenal being tired 60, 70 minutes. You bring on Ziyech who can ping a ball to Werner who can get in behind. I just feel like it's the perfect combination. So can't drop Havertz. He's one of our best players. Mount is undroppable. He is one of the first names on the team sheet. I get the shouts about Werner playing on the left, but I think we've got to start realising that he, a bit like Alonso, in certain games there will be really, really worthwhile and starting, but in other games they're just not as they don't need to be utilised. So Mount, Lukaku, Havertz for me have to be the starting three.
It seems like that's all what we're all hoping for, and personally, that's like I said, all of us. So that includes me. That's what I prefer, and the only unfortunate thing is that Lukaku likes to drift to the right and then kind of collides with Havertz. I know obviously then Havertz can move in here and we can do it like that. I hope we're right. I'm hoping to God we're right. Against Liverpool, it's maybe a whole different discussion. Maybe you need to talk about dropping Mount, probably more dropping Kai as much as it's painful, but you need Mount's work rate against Liverpool probably, and you probably like Timo's pace. Like extra bit of pace compared to Kai against Liverpool. But against Arsenal tomorrow, I think this is what we should go for. But sure, someone said it in the chat as well. Maybe Lukaku comes on as a sub, and then obviously you bring him on for either one of them, whoever plays the worst, I guess, or whoever is least fit, I guess. That's going to be a whole different debate. But, depending on if Lukaku, and I'll put this to you guys, because I've seen a lot of people discuss this, and I'll go with you first, Lewis, actually. I've seen a lot of people say Lukaku will get the best out of Werner. Not just other players, but in particular Werner. If that turns out to be true, I still doubt it because I'm not sure even what Werner's best is in the Premier League. But even if he does, and it works out really well, where does Mount go? Or do you think then for the rest of the season it's going to be a case of Mount or Kai? Or do you think it could end up in Mount dropping into the midfield?
A bit of both. Like, we've seen Mount be experimented in the pivot before. That could be something we do see a bit more this season. Or it does end up being a thing where Mount and Havertz have to contend for more spots. And I know it means less game time for both of them, but Mount will relish the challenges, so will Kai Havertz. And I don't think that'll be too much of a problem for either. The bigger problem are the other players. Your Ziyech's, your Hudson-Odoi's, your Pulisic. Because I've already said one attacker is going to leave next year because they won't be happy with the game time that they've had. Potentially 2. If Mason Mount also now has his place in jeopardy, and we know how vital he is to the Chelsea press, then I'm gonna be real. I don't know. I could see either one of them contending for the spot, or maybe potentially we do have Mount as a second midfielder because we are a midfielder down anyway. It looks like Ruben might be going on loan. Chalobah's staying anyway, so that could be a potential DM if we do want to use it. But I don't know. There's plenty of different ways that Chelsea could go about it. You either see Mount and Havertz fight for the same position. You either see Mount in the pivot, or potentially it's Werner that gets dropped. And if Werner and Lukaku don't work out, then it's easy. Werner does get dropped, and we just move on from there.
Fair enough. I've obviously, you guys probably, well, no, not probably, wouldn't understand it because it's kind of German, but I've seen this funniest, I'm sure you've all seen a clip with Lukaku and Werner talking to each other in training, in that open training session. And there was this the most hilarious, German dubbing over it, but they're just talking to each other, and Lukaku's basically explaining to him, you just give me the ball, and Timo Werner's like, so I just don't shoot, yeah? And Lukaku's like, exactly, and Timo was very happy. It's hilarious. Anyway, anyway.
You know what? It's true though. Just don't.
It's facts, bro. It is absolutely facts. The guy is so focused on passing. Last game, he was 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper and still tried to cross the ball. It was the most baffling thing I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, let me put it to you, Pys. I'm not sure if you missed any of what I said because I think your internet cut out for a second. My question to Lewis was, just in case this potentially happens, that Lukaku really does bring Super Werner out of Timo. What happens to Mason / Kai? My logic is potentially Mount becomes more of a midfield option, like Kovacic instead of Kovacic, something like that. Or do you think it's going to be Mount and Kai rotating then if Timo really bangs all of a sudden?
Yeah, probably the second option. But that's only if Werner's unstoppable all of a sudden, and he comes to a point where we can't drop Werner, which. Personally, I don't see, but I would love to see because it would mean, we'd have effectively two strikers absolutely banging. So, but I mean, it's going to be interesting because this is what I said before the season as well. We've got so many attackers. We can change. There's going to be so much change this season, bro. For real, even doing these predicted lineups, we've predicted this. Could be a whole, could be more changes.
6 different players. Yeah, we could be so wrong.
It's so hard to predict these lineups this season. Especially when Ziyech comes back. We're going to see a lot of Havertz and Mount probably coming off the bench. Same with Werner. We're just going to see so much rotation. I think Pulisic as well. And I think we had this conversation a few weeks ago. Evidently, there will be one loser, and that will be found out over time because there's going to be one of the forwards who just doesn't play.
We haven't even thrown Ziyech into the hat. If Ziyech keeps playing like he did in pre-season against Villarreal until he got injured, serious. Do you know what I mean?
It's hard because Mount and Havertz are just, for me, they're so nailed on. They're two of our most important players. But then again, you've got so many other good attackers as well, like Ziyech, like Pulisic, like Werner, could hit form. So I think this is one of the reasons why the pro 4 at the back people are saying, play 4 at the back because then we've got an extra option, going forward. And I can see their point because
100%
over the season, it's going to be difficult to keep
Although you say
happy.
that, it creates a similar issue in the back 4 then because
it does.
Look at the debate we've already had about the back 3 where we can't decide who should start. Imagine it's only 2 centre-backs.
Bro, that's exactly the problem. And we want Koundé still as well. So we're definitely still playing a back 3. That's 100%. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting going forward to see, what he does with the forward line. How much does he rotate? How much does he use subs? But that's the thing I like about Tuchel. I trust him with these sort of things because I think he's very good at planning things. I think he's a really logical coach. I think he's spot on with almost everything he does. So I think he will plan around it, will plan for different opposition. And I just think there'll be so much rotation this season, bro. I don't think there's a set front 3. I really don't because there's just too many players to fit in.
Fair. Hey, it is fair. And Jonathan, just quickly, because I do have one last topic that I want us to discuss before we get into the final score prediction and rounding out here. For you, if Timo somehow bangs crazily, what happens then?
Just like I said with Chalobah, the players in form have to play. You have to dislodge those players. We've got so many options now, which I've been craving for so many years. You know, you look at that City squad they've had for a few years under Pep, and it's just incredible how they've got 2 players for every position. We're now getting to that sort of, of options and availability, which will only help us to be successful. So it's great that Tuchel's got these problems, because last season there were at times under Lampard where we didn't have the options, where the same players were playing. He can now keep it fresh, change it to go against certain different teams. So yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing for the amount of options that Tuchel has.
It is crazy. And the last topic I do want to get to, let me just change the screen here again quickly, is the reports from yesterday, I'm pretty sure, that we seem to prioritize Saúl over Tchouaméni or any other midfielder, and we seem to be heavily interested in Saúl and trying to get him on a season-long loan. Not that I'm aware of an option to buy, let alone an obligation to buy at the end of this, potential loan. And before I put it to you guys, I will say it straight up, I think that would be brilliant business. Absolutely brilliant business. He's, first of all, not going to moan if he's on a bench, because that's what he's been doing at Atletico for the last 1.5 years. Number one. Number two, he's an experienced player, which is kind of what you need when you have a Kante or a Kovacic or a Jorginho getting injured. You don't want to have to throw in a Tchouaméni who won't have had time to get used to the Premier League by then. You don't want to really throw in Chalobah, who in this position hasn't had time to get used to the Premier League at all. And, it's kind of just a stopgap. If he bangs, we buy him next year, brilliant, and then we have a great player. And if he doesn't, and he's just a decent player that barely plays, then it was just a lovely stopgap until Gilmour comes back from Norwich and fights for his starting spot. So for me, getting Saúl on a loan would be an absolutely brilliant loan move. Do Atletico want to loan? Well, he's not in their plans, and they're struggling for money, so getting anyone of their wage bill, they're not heavily against, as far as I'm aware. Pys is the man of the transfers of the four of us, I would say. So let me put it to Pys first. First of all, do you see this happening, and do you agree with my sentiment that I think it'd be great? I mean, I know you're a fan of Germany. I get that, but
I don't know if I see it happening. Maybe. Yeah. I'm not sure if I can see it happening. I can't really predict these things. I think we'll have to let it develop a little bit more. But I think it would be good business, especially if it's on a loan. I'll be a bit more concerned if we straight up buy him, to be honest with you. But I would like a loan with kind of like an option to buy. I think that would be quite a good move. He's very technical. He would suit the system, I think. You he can play a number of positions.
He's a bloody workhorse as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but Laurenz, he does still play loads, by the way. It's just it's the positions he plays are different nowadays. Like, he's been playing like almost like a left wing back for Atletico at times. It's kind of a weird one. Then he drifts.
But isn't Carrasco still their first choice there though?
Well, they play a weird formation, but I know he starts on kind of more to the left and then drifts into the middle. It's kind of weird. Okay. But yeah, I'm sure we can talk about that more at another time. But in terms of analysing specifically, but yeah, I do think it'd be a good bit of business. It's kind of a weird one though, right? Because he's not the profile we kind of need at the same time. We're missing a big, tall, physical DM who can also play on the ball, and that's kind of why we've been linked to Rice and Tchouaméni. So to get another technical player who's almost similar to Jorginho and Kovacic, just that's a bit random.
I disagree with that.
What do you mean, bro?
That he's similar to Kovacic and Jorginho. Kovacic maybe, but I think Saúl is
on the ball.
I think Saúl is way closer to Kante than to Jorginho.
Not from what I've seen. I mean, he always offers angles and he's very technical.
Maybe it's just to me that every Atletico player is close to Kante because they have to run all the time, because otherwise Simeone would never play them. Maybe that's mostly what I'm thinking about.
No, he's definitely got more sort of workhorse, right? Than sort of, he's more of a workhorse than Jorginho. But in terms of on the ball and offering for the ball and how he plays, it is still similar to Jorginho. He really wants to command the play, and get the ball forward and constantly make sure he tries to keep possession, which is literally what Jorginho does. So I would like it, but at the same time, it's kind of it's one of these signings. If we do get it, it'll be kind of out the blue kind of thing. It is kind of like a late sort of Marina move that we've seen before. It's kind of one we didn't really expect, because the other profiles been looking at are not the profile of Saúl. So it's kind of weird at the same time.
I guess so. Lewis, do you know much about Saúl? And I'm not sure if you're here, actually. Let me go with Jonathan.
No,
Sorry.
I'm here, but nah, I'm going to be real. I don't really know enough about Saúl to give you a profile on him or the type of player he is. I just have to do a bit more research on him anyway.
Watch my comp, bro. I made a comp.
On a waffle. Oh, you got a comp? You know what? That's good publicity. Yeah, I will have a look at that, actually.
I will just say something on what Pai said. Saúl is literally 1 centimeter shorter than Tchouaméni. So in terms of the height is not what he loses out of. 185, so like just over 6 foot, and
no, but
Saúl is
Tchouaméni's a beast, though, bro. Like
I'm just saying height. I'm not saying he's as strong. I'm just saying height.
He's nowhere near as strong, trust me.
Yeah. But I mean, few people are, I suppose. To be fair, Google actually says 187 for Saúl. Someone told me 85, but hey, so it's 3 centimeters, but still. Anyway, Jonathan, obviously, Lewis, if you want to add anything else, please do. But Jonathan, would you agree that getting Saúl on a loan would be a good piece of business? Because I get the whole like for Tchouaméni, but to me, if we sign Saúl, what that screams to me is Rice is too expensive right now. We're going to sign him next summer, and we have Billy coming back. That's what that screams to me if we get Saúl.
Yeah, definitely. Look, what's our long-term strategy? Do we want to get our first choice this summer? If we can't, we're going to get them next summer. Gilmore's on loan, like I said, him coming back. We've got a starting 3 of Jorginho, Kovacic and Kante. So do we want to go for someone who's not our first choice? Maybe not. Maybe it's almost a threat to the other clubs that we're trying to negotiate with that, look, we've got another option. If you don't want to play ball, we'll just go with them for a year and then we'll just get the player that we want cheaper next year. So it could be a few moves by Marina, but if we're going to improve our squad and bolster our numbers, I'm not going to have too much of an issue. I've seen enough of him to know that I think he could do a job. Will he start every week? I don't think he will. I still think you'll see the likes of Jorginho, Kovacic and Kante 100%. Rotate, but certainly a good option. We've got a lot of games this season. We've got the Club World Cup in December that everyone seems to forget about as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of games to play. We do need to rotate to keep everyone fresh. We haven't even factored any injuries. And touch wood, we've been okay. But if we do get a few injuries, that's when we need our numbers. So
you say that. I mean, Kante is injured a lot.
Yeah, well, therein lies the problem as well. So I just think, other than Kante, really, and a bit of Pulisic, we've been quite good for injuries in the last few years. So, I just think we need options. So we do need another midfielder. If he plugs the gap and Tuchel wants him, then I think you have to go with that. Because as Pai said earlier, I completely trust Tuchel. The way he sets us up, the way he talks about the game, he's a breath of fresh air. So if him and the board think that's the right move for a year, whether it's an obligation to buy or not, I just think, back them. But again, I still don't think he'll play loads, but it's a good option to have for sure.
Fair play. All right, enough Saúl talk. Let's finish, the Arsenal versus Chelsea preview, of course, tomorrow afternoon. Let's get to some score predictions. And I know it's a tough one to call, I get it. But, Lewis, I will put you on the spot first. What's your score prediction?
Five 0.
I knew he was going to come out with that. 5 or 6-0. I knew he was going to say that.
Yeah, 5-0. The only thing I can
guarantee. How much money are you putting on that, bro?
How much money?
Yeah.
I wasn't really thinking that far into it personally. But the only thing I can guarantee is because Christensen's playing, it will be a clean sheet. Guaranteed. Jess, big up yourself as well. He said it first, and he gave me the confidence to believe in it. So, 5-0 Chelsea. Let's go for it.
To be fair, he also said 3-0 against Villarreal, and I mean, we won, but it certainly was 3-0. But anyway, just to make a point here, with Atletico bought the pull from Udinese in Serie A to replace Saúl, which again is another indication that they probably wouldn't mind to at least get him off the wage bill if they can't sell him as such. But 5-0, hey, I'll bloody take it. I'll have a very good Sunday tomorrow if that was to happen. Let me go with you the next, Jonathan. Do you quite echo the same confidence of Lewis, or what are you going to go with?
Not quite that much. I still think we're going to win. I still think it will be a 3-1 win. I was really hoping to go. The only reason I'm not going is because I'm doing the Vitality half marathon. So, I mean, one of the reasons why most of the London roads will be closed tomorrow morning. But yeah, I'm very confident. I just think that we will have a lapse of concentration on something. They always seem to get a goal against us. They always seem to do something stupid that we don't expect. So I think they will score, but we should have more than enough in the tank. And especially with Lukaku starting or coming off the bench, much more of a goal threat. We're going to get goals. So 3-1 Chelsea.
Fair enough. But also, good luck with that running tomorrow.
Thank you.
Pice,
Yeah, best of luck, man.
what are the sentiments? What we're feeling? You're feeling confident? 2-goal difference win, a win at all? What are you feeling?
I'm always the pessimistic one, aren't I? Before games,
And that's why we love you.
Yeah, like I'm moving like CFC daily, to be fair, but no, I think my head says, or not my head, my heart says 3-0, an absolute battering, a complete defensive masterclass, scoring goals, taking chances. But my head says 1-1, to be honest.
Look at this. Hey, you can't say he's only biased. I can't say that. So, hey, my score prediction. I'm going to be that weirdo that can't, decide on one. I'm saying either 3-1 or 2-0 is one of the two in my head. Hopefully, if Lukaku doesn't start, maybe like 2-1. You never know. But I am hopeful, and I'm backing Tuchel here. You better get the dub. Although, if he doesn't get a dub and Werner starts, me and TT are going to have some problems here. I'm telling you that much. Because I'm gonna be fuming. I know he won us the Champions League and all sorts. On tomorrow, on the day, I'm gonna be fine come Monday. But tomorrow, after the game, I will be fuming. If Werner starts and we don't win, I will be fuming. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in today. We still have 350 people watching, which is brilliant. So if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Like I said, we're on the road to 15K, and every new subscriber counts. So hit that big red subscribe button. Like I said, turn the like button blue, like London, and like hopefully Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea will tomorrow. So, smash the like button if you haven't already. Helps me push these videos out to more people. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you to all of you for coming on. Of course, to Lewis, as always, check out his channel down in the description below. Pies, of course, follow him on Twitter. Follow Jonathan on Twitter as well. Again, Jonathan, all the best for the marathon tomorrow. Was it half marathon? What did you say?
Half marathon, yeah. I'm doing a London marathon in 3rd of October, so it's just a bit of a tester, really. So.
Yeah, my man's running all over the shop. Anyway, good luck.
I'm still trying to find that Champions League trophy at Arsenal, like Chelsea Fan TV were the other day.
There you go. Hey, maybe you'll find it on your run tomorrow. You never know.
Oh, Jonathan, are you going to the game tomorrow? Oh no,
no, that's what I was saying. I'm not going. I had a ticket, but yeah, it's annoying because I was going to go to the game
in the morning.
It is, but by the time I'm done to get home where I am from sort of south to east and then get all the way up to north, it was just too much time. Yeah, so didn't be chilling at home, hopefully. So
fair play. Also, probably a bit of recovering, I presume, unless you just run half marathons out of your arse like it's not. Maybe you do. I don't know. But again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards. Let's hope we can get a ginormous dub tomorrow. That would be absolutely brilliant. I'm if we win 5-0 tomorrow, I'll PayPal Lewis a 10. I don't know. But anyway, I'd be a big fan of us getting a 5-0 dub. See, Lewis is also a big fan. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. Subscribe if you haven't already. Upwards and onwards. And I'll see you next time.
Bon Arsenal. Dead too.